Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. I got some grease on my face because I'm trying to continue to fight what I got going on, allergies and things of that nature, skin allergies and stuff. But pay me no mind. Appearance is only but so important. I think what I'm trying to say is much more important at this point. So I made a video in regards to responding to Joe Rogan. Not necessarily responding, but reacting. I don't think you see what I said, but reacting to Joe Rogan, and I said my piece, and I left it at that, and that's enough. And you guys can go check that out. I encourage you to. I think I said some things in there that I think can really help the conversation, rather than just an opinion piece. But I felt confident about what I said there. I think though the next phase of this conversation for me is to just understand, not to explain, but to more so try to understand something. Maybe I'm looking at this clearly. I think I am. What it means to be offended means different things to others. And what I mean by that is this. Maybe for your group, being offended can be something that you fight somebody, shake it off. You know what I mean? Punch somebody in the face. I didn't like that you said that. Back to life. Other people, being offended can mean something that they harbor. It stays on their soul. That's reflected in how they view one another. Now, you allowed him to say that. You allowed him to do that. It just becomes an entirely different environment in the face of offense, if that makes any sense. Like, for example, and I speak of a group that I don't quite understand, but I understand that being offended to them means that it's worse. Like, for example, of people of the Jewish faith. You offend certain people in the Jewish faith, and it comes back to a situation where it's like, okay, there needs to be a reaction to this. There needs to be consequences. We can't allow this because of what we've gone through. You know what I mean? That's how I harbor it. It's like, because of what we've gone through, the last folks who offended us, they tried to slaughter us. You see what I'm saying? Now, let me try to step into another group and say maybe it's a different thing. Maybe for group B over there, whomever they may be, being offended don't mean the same thing. He said something offensive. Ha ha ha. Let me give him a retort. Call it a day. Or, yeah, we're going to box it out. Call it a day. You know what I mean? It's that type of thing. I think being offended means different things to different people. And I think when we try to maneuver through these various groups and try to live amongst one another, we need to first start there in understanding what being offended means to certain people and how those reactions mean so much. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like, as a black person, you say the N-word, it can mean a plethora of different things. You know what I mean? To a lot of different black people. But one thing's for sure, if you say it around the wrong black people, they feel responsible for holding you accountable for saying it. You know what I mean? Maybe the Asian group may feel the same way. You say a certain word, maybe they feel differently. I don't know. But what I'm saying is it means different things to different people. And because we're all living in the same place, we need to find the root of what understanding is in regards to what does being offended mean to you. And I think that's where we get a disconnect. I think that's where the disconnect really becomes. So it's like a lot of people are looking at Joe Rogan and said, he said the N-word. Yeah, but respectfully, I must say, Joe Rogan is a Caucasian man. Saying something like, for example, now, I'm not going to use the word, but I've talked to people who have given me an understanding based on their point of view. I'm not saying this is what the entire group is saying, but their point of view is, you can call me the C word. I don't care, dude. It doesn't mean anything. So if I say the N word to you, you should react the same way because, hey, the C word don't really mean nothing to me. It's cool, bro. But if you go to the LGBT community and you say the F word, they ain't going to take it the same way as maybe that straight white dude may take the C word. Now, I'm not saying there's all one size fits all because obviously that would be ignorant of me, but I think the point of view is so common between groups that we can kind of find an understanding based on the stereotype. And the stereotype really does kind of help in regards to this to a degree because it allows us to at least navigate as best we can. Unfortunately, this is the only time I'd honestly say a stereotype may be able to help guide us. Because I'm not going to go up to any person who may be of that community and utter the F word. I know to them, that's like me saying the N word. And because I have an N word, do you understand what I'm saying? As a black person, I have an N word. I get it. It's like, all right, So I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be sensitive to that. I know I better be on guard. If I say that around the wrong person, I better be ready for the fight. I better be ready for whatever comes with that. As to where if I'm from a said group, the Caucasian group, and I feel like the C word ain't that big of a deal, I might be ready to utter the F word or the N word or all the words, because I know if you hit me with offense, I don't care, bro. I'm gonna get back to my life. I'm cool, man. Ain't nothing attached to that. There's not, there's no oppression attached to that. There's no murders attached to that per se. There's no like oppression in any way. And nobody lost their job because they called me the C word. We might have to box it out, but bro, we cool. You know what I mean? As to where maybe other groups may feel the same way. You know what I mean? Maybe I don't mean nothing to y'all. So you will assume that because from your position, it don't being offended by certain words don't mean nothing to you, that other people should feel the same way. But no. And that's what I want to kind of help us understand. That way we can kind of navigate through this world we're in, where we use cancel culture, because the cancel culture idea applies the thought that one size fits all. You see what I'm saying? It's like, for example, if a Caucasian man says the F word and he doesn't understand what I just explained, maybe he's one of those guys that say we box it out, we're cool, drink it off, we'll laugh. Maybe giving him the punishment, assuming that he understood all of this from a perspective of someone who harbored the energy of an offensive word, or the closeness of what it means to be offended and how it must be reacted to in such a way. Applying to him will only make him feel like he's being overly punished for what it is that he's done. You see what I'm saying? And you apply that cancel culture, you take away his life, you take away his job, you take away, his right to speak, you tell him he can't say nothing else, and then all of a sudden, suddenly he really do hate you now. He didn't hate you when he was saying them words, but since you didn't hit him with all these dang consequences and ruined his damn life over a freaking word when he didn't even understand what the heck the problem is, because if you call him the C word, he ain't gonna trip. Now you've created a monster. Now you've created a real racist. Now you've given him real, tangible hate from which to agree with real racists, and now you didn't add it to the clan of racists. Now you didn't add it to the people who secretly hate you, because he may not actually say he hates you, but since he has this experience of you taking everything from him, now he's going to be plotting and trying to figure out how he can oppress. Now he may be able to use his power to try to get back some of what has been taken from him, if he's so able to get that power back. In a lot of cases, he may not be able to. We create monsters by canceling people and assuming they understand the basis of what it is I've been trying to explain. And I think that's where we need to master that science before we go forward in saying somebody's a racist, or saying that person shouldn't take that word seriously when they feel and harbor certain certain things that come with that maybe you just can't relate to. So as I've been thinking a lot about this, and how the cancel culture and how we make it so that, okay, you can't say that word ever, we need to understand that a lot of people don't understand why they shouldn't be able to say those words. As to where we just want them to respect us. Like a black person, you're supposed to respect me. Well, why? You know what I mean? Why? Like, why do you matter more? See, this is why the Black Lives Matter statement was so offensive to so many people, because this conversation wasn't had beforehand. Well, the Black Lives Matter things matters because so many of us have felt for so many years that we haven't mattered. And maybe from your point of view, you don't see it the way I do. Maybe you've never heard of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Maybe you don't believe that some of the things that happen. Maybe you've never heard of some of the most painful things that have happened, and most importantly, you can't relate to it because it didn't happen to you. It's just a story told by somebody else. For example, you look at, like, some people have a heart for certain things that they don't relate to, right? Like, for example, you'll see, I hate to be like this, but like a commercial of a kid in Somalia who's, sick and not doing well and all that. You see it on a commercial, oh, you're sad for a couple minutes, you go away. Right? You go away from it, get back to dinner. It's like, that sucks. And that's it. As to where somebody who's been through that sees that and it's triggering. Now it's like, oh my God, I'm thinking about it all day long. I got to find a way to help. Blah, 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 blah. It depends on the type of spirit you have, what type of person you are, what type of experiences you've had. But most importantly, what we do as a society is apply one size fits all in that situation. So it's like to assume everybody should feel so strongly about what they've seen, as opposed to different people seeing it and applying different levels of understanding, thought, and empathy. Not everybody empathizes the same way, and we can't force people to empathize the same way. And so without that empathy, we also can't force people to see things the way that maybe cancel culture would demand that they do naturally. What I want people to do is learn to respect my group because I've been able to explain this, right? Or been able to at least give you what questions to now ask. So then you can look at me and say, okay, that black dude, yeah, I kind of want to be sensitive to him because he's explained to me what it means to him to be offended. Because I think a good person will come to that conclusion. Now, a lot of people aren't good people, but that doesn't mean they're going to utter bad words. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's another reason why cancel culture doesn't really work, because I can do a great job of navigating through the waters if I'm smart enough. I know what to say, I know what not to say, I know how to be seen, I know what not to be seen doing, and I've been able to effectively hide my hate, right? Or someone else may not be as intelligent. They just run their mouth and say whatever comes to their mind. Sometimes they're offensive all day long. It doesn't necessarily reflect who they are. They just haven't grown to a space where they understand why it's important to respect others. And that is something that we need to understand, that there's different levels of that between person to person to person. But if you apply the same thing to everybody, it removes the desire to change. It can remove the desire to want to be empathetic. It can remove the desire to just want to not offend. And that's what I want to get to. We got to get to the root of why being offensive is so hurtful to groups that are demanding their respect, rather than just saying, give me my respect and that's it. And I don't think a lot of people who are pushing these agendas are actually even thinking this through. I think they're just pushing because they're listening to somebody else say, yeah, we can't be offended, we can't allow that. Yeah, we can't be offended, we can't allow that. And it just becomes a group thing, sheepish type of thing. But no. We need to really break this stuff down because it's having real, actual consequences for people every day. And I do believe that we're breeding more and more monsters with this nonsense. I actually cringed when I first heard the phrase Black Lives Matter, and I thought it was, and the reason why is because I understood this. It's like, okay, people aren't going to get that. They're not going to get it. They're not going to get it. All they're going to see is their own point of view, which is they're getting applied certain levels of respect that we are not getting, or we don't feel that we, have demanded. And there's no understanding of why. You know what I mean? But the why is this, because we've been through so much and we are on edge and we can't take too much more of this. If you want us to be functioning members of society, as you want us to comply with all of this, you need to understand that we've been through so much to now our mental health and our spiritual health and our desire to be in a space where this takes place. There's no more. Suddenly we're going to start acting up. So, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of groups feel that way as it pertains to certain things, and a lot may not. So that's why I think this conversation and this point of view is important. Let's start finding out why it means so much to certain people to not be offended. Let's start figuring out how we can be organically empathetic to different groups so that we can start to share understandings and learn to respect one another from a real place, not a forced place. I'm forcing you to respect me because if you don't respect me, I'm taking everything from you. Well, what are you going to feel about me? You're going to hate me. That's all you're going to do is hate me. And I just don't think that's the way forward. I think that there may be some entities in place that want us not to think about these things. I think there may be some entities in place that may like hurting us in a certain direction. You know what I mean? Humans are sheep. They're going to hurt them in a direction. Let's separate them, pin them against each other, take away the desire to ask questions, take away the desire to communicate, and then therefore we can kind of control them while they're at odds with one another. See, we got to be able to fight against that. You know what I mean? We got to be able to think our way through that. And that's exactly what I think my purpose is, to try to help us think through some of the norms that I feel are not normal. And one of the things that is not normal is punishing everybody for something that not everyone understands. You understand? Or punishing those who may make mistakes without explaining to them and helping them understand why it's important for them to try not to make that mistake from within themselves, not just from a forced perspective. Okay, you got to do this. No. This is why you want to be seen as somebody who's respectful to these people. This is why you want to be, have your last name be attached to not being this way, because it can carry over to your grandkids and how they're treated and how they are viewed by certain people. When we create these monsters in these places, that person hates you, that person hates you, that person hates you, and that person hates you. Eventually it gets to a point where people come together and bond upon that hatred. And that is a dangerous thing for all of us. You know what I mean? I just think about all different types of things. It's different ways that has been applied and it's gone under the radar. You know what I mean? How we can be so indifferent and it ends up waking people up and putting a fire in their belly to be our enemies. You know what I mean? And to turn on you and to not root for you no more. You know, these type of things just need to be discussed. They need to be broken down. And those of us who are in a position to see these things as they are need to use our voices to try to bring that to light. And that's exactly what I'm here to do, man. It ain't just enough to tell you not to call me the N-word. It's up to me to tell you why I think the N-word is harmful to people who look like me, why it's harmful for you to say it, why it can be something that can be misconstrued and put a bad blanket of on you, or a bad connotation on your head about who you are and what you represent, and ultimately give you consequences that you're not even asking for just by saying it. It ain't just about offending me. You know what I mean? That's not where it stops. So that's what my last video was about. And ultimately, I hope to try to carry that over into this video to help us understand how to respect one another and why we should try to learn to, not be forced to, not, look at ourselves and hate ourselves for making the mistake of maybe uttering a word. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's another thing that we need to be very aware of. Is that a guy like, and I take Joe Rogan for example, but a guy like Joe Rogan may be beating himself up. You see what I'm saying? Maybe he might actually harbor the belief that he is a racist. You know what I mean? Even though he didn't feel like he was beforehand because he didn't have that in his heart. But now it's like everybody's calling you a racist. It's just like saying to somebody, yo, you're stupid. And they start questioning their own intelligence. Like maybe I, start thinking about all the mistakes they may have made. Well, damn, maybe I am stupid. Well, damn, maybe. No, bro, you're not. You just weren't educated on why it's important to respect yourself in such a way as to never utter that word. And when you came to that conclusion, you changed and you grew. And that's organic. That's real change. That's not just shutting your mouth and never using the N-word again. It's respecting what it did to you and what it hurts and how it hurts us. And that's real change. So that's what I'm hoping that Joe Rogan has come to. Not just, taking all the anger and all the stuff that people are saying who ain't thinking this stuff out and just saying, yo, you're this guy, No, you can be one of our greatest allies because you were honest about how you felt. You stepped up to the plate and said this is wrong, and you can influence others to start questioning those things within themselves. And that is the type of questioning we want, not the type that makes you feel like the anger that's being thrown at you is the real stuff, because that ain't the real stuff. The growth is the real stuff, and I believe that. So, I've said bad words. I've said the F word before. It flew out of my mouth. It's a word that comes out easy. Do you understand what I'm saying? The F word comes out easy when you're mad. It's because I grew up hearing it all the time. I do not dislike, hate, nor want bad for anybody in their community. Never have, never will. It's not what I want. But if you heard me say that word on camera, or if you caught me every time I said it and put a collage every time I said it, it will define me. And then if everybody hits me in the head, says, yo, you're the evil guy who doesn't like us, maybe if I'm not strong enough of a mind, I might actually believe that and turn around and actually start hating y'all and myself at the same time. It's a vicious cycle, and I hope that I've brought my understanding of it to light. Ask questions that'll help you understand how to best represent yourself, and I think everything else will fall into place from there. My name is BDF44. Thank y'all for listening. I'm out.